All right. Okay, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. We are about to get started with our Facebook Live. Today we have Marissa joining us, and she's going to be sharing about visual timers. So we will get started shortly. Also, feel free to start a watch party once you get this link. There should be a button somewhere on Facebook where you can start a watch party. And then you can start sharing with all your friends and families. So thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, we'll get started probably in like 1 more minute. Because right now, I'm going to go to my personal page and start a watch party as well. And you might need to hit like the 3 dots to find the button, but we will get started soon. So I will actually be starting us off by showing you the visual timers tips video that we created, and it's on our it's on our video tips website at miracle139international.org/videos. So if you ever get a chance, you can watch this and a bunch of other videos, both in English, Spanish, and Mandarin. So go check it out. All right, so I am going to share with you the video, and right after that, I will present Marissa, and she will present a little bit more on visual timers. So enjoy the video.
Hi, today I'm going to be talking about visual timers. Visual timers are very easy to use in the classroom, but also at home, because as a parent of a child with special needs, I often use visual timers for my son. I use SAN visual timers in the classroom. I use water timers like these that students really like. And then I also use timers like these where I can set up to 60 minutes of time and the kids can watch them move. I also use online visual timers for whole class instruction. And these are really useful and fun. These obviously are for younger kids. These can be for older kids. But I mainly use it for classroom management. I use it during reading time, especially for kids who they don't really like to read and reading is hard for them. If they know that they only have to read 5 minutes, they have the expectation in their mind that, okay, I can do this, I can read, and as soon as I hear the timer, I can be able to stop my reading and then move on to hopefully a preferred activity. I also use it during group work for students to stay on task and on track when they're working together in groups. They can have, when I do group work, I often use these as they can have that visual for the whole class to see. I also use these especially for kids who need to work on unpreferred tasks or tasks they do not want to do or struggle with, because they're more compliant when they know they're only going to have a set time. And I also, when I tell them you're going to work for 10 minutes and then you can move on to a preferred task, I also like to use these during transitions, and kids have trouble with transitions. But if they know that it is transition time is coming, they're more willing to move on to the next activity when they see their water timer or their timer end. Last thing I want to say is I also use this to promote independence. And this is something that has really worked with my own son. Instead of me saying, you have 5 minutes left, you have 3 minutes left, you have 2 minutes left, I don't have to say that anymore, because I'll say, okay, you have to complete this task at home or in the classroom, I just have to say, go set your timer, and he will just run over there, grab it. My mom said, I need to set my timer for 15 minutes. He can set it. He knows to put it in front of him, and he can complete the task as needed. And that will just promote independence, just not only in school, and hopefully he can generalize for the rest of the different places he is at home and with friends, but he can set his own timer so that he can complete his tasks.
Well, that was wonderful. Well, we are so excited to share with you Marissa, and she's going to dive a little deeper into visual timers. So take it away, Marissa.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marissa Bayansky, and I'm an education specialist. And I've been teaching children with special needs for about 17 years in all areas, early education all the way up into 12th grade and adults. I'm also one of our training specialists for Miracle 139 International. We provide special education and special needs ministry training around the world to ensure children with unique learning needs have access to education and support. In fact, we just got back from a trip in Peru last summer, which I was a part of, and it was amazing. We'd love to know where you're from. So if you want to let us know in the comment section, that would be great. Also, a couple of our other Miracle 139 International trainers will be helping answer questions in the comment section. So please feel free to leave any questions you may have in the comments. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, welcome to visual timers. All right, so what are visual timers? All visual timers are timers that allow children to see the movement of time through clear visual signals. Kids do not understand, children do not understand time well, even into middle school and high school. Sometimes even adults have trouble with time. So timers, visual timers, are excellent to be able to see with your own eyes how much time is going by, and they can understand that. And there's different kinds of visual timers. There's sand timers, time timers, and we're going to get into that in a second. But what I really want to go is ways to use visual timers. So visual timers provide an understanding of time, like we discussed. If I tell a 7-year-old, okay, that's going to take you 15 minutes. I want you to work for 15 minutes. 15 minutes for them could be 30 seconds or half an hour. So having that visual of how long they need to complete the task is extremely helpful. It also facilitates transitions, which we know transitions and moving from one activity to another is extremely hard for children, especially kids with disabilities. They oftentimes like to fixate or want to do a preferred task, and that's all they want to do, and they don't want to break away from it. But sometimes we have to transition from that preferred task to a non-preferred task, or a non-preferred task to a preferred task. So I love to use these timers during that time. It also helps improve focus and on tasks and activities. My son, for example, he loves these timers because he knows, he's like, okay, I need to maintain my focus for these 10 minutes to finish this little paragraph. And I don't know what it is, but he sets that timer, and now he's 14 and he's in high school, and those little fingers start typing as fast as they can because he wants to get as much done in those 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Also, this promotes independence. I now, in my own classroom, once I've trained kids how to use these timers, or even in my own home, I don't have to set timers for anything. Now I just tell the kids, okay, everybody, now we're going to be working for the next 30 minutes on this activity. I don't even set the timers anymore. The kids set their own timers because they know that they can move around in my classroom, grab those timers from my counter, put it on their desk, and off they go. There is something about the timers that just brings down the anxiety. Now, when do you use them? Let's go into a little more detail in how you use them. So having to do with transitioning. So at home, you can use it for moving from transitioning from playing or free time and then getting ready for bedtime, which by the way is not a preferred activity in most houses, or snack time. Like say they come home from school and you have snack time, but then you got to transition them back into homework time or study time, or just an activity that's not preferred. Maybe you're doing some tutoring with them. Use it during that time. You set that time, that visual timer first. You've got 15 minutes to snack. When you hear that bell, you put the snack food away and you sit down at your desk and you get ready. I already put this, but I'll say it again. Free time to bedtime. This is a hard one because kids feel like sometimes going to bed means you're taking something away. But again, these timers really, really help them move on to the next activity pretty quickly. At school, like I mentioned in my video, reading time for a lot of students is really, really hard, or even writing. So being able to transition from reading time to cleanup time because they have to go on to their next activity or go to recess or on to the next subject, use it during that time. You can use in the classroom, you can use the big visual one that you can project on your board or on the computer or on the big TV if you have one in your classroom. Also, the hard one, free time to instruction time. Kids are enjoying it, but when they just know, and especially if you have a reward system, okay, timer's counting down, first person, when you hear that bell, first person to sit down and get ready for instruction time and get out your books, you get some beans in the jar or you get a little star on your sticker chart. Also moving on from recess. This is a hard one. Recess, when they're all riled up and excited from recess, and really just transitioning in. So when the kids walk in from recess, you set that timer. You say 5 minutes to get your body in control. Let's do some deep breathing for some calming exercises, and let's get ready to learn. And when you hear that timer, by that time, the kids just got into the habit of being able to transition and be ready to be able to focus, to have some learning time. Some other ways to use it is during sustained focus. And at home, this is to complete tasks like cleaning. I know in my house, I say cleaning, my son's like, I'm out. And I'm like, just kidding, get back here, you gotta clean. But if I say, you need to clean for 30 minutes, he's like, okay, I've got my timer. He likes to put his music on. And off he goes because he knows it's a set time. And 30 minutes to him doesn't sound too long. And he gets to watch it get shorter and shorter as the minutes go by. Also, homework is a big one, especially if you have kids who have trouble with focus. Homework is a big one. Set the timer. 10 minutes of sustained work, 5 minutes to be able to just kind of have a little brain break. 15 minutes, you decide, you know your child, you'll be able to know how long they can keep their sustained focus. And also after a week or two, you can make it the time a little longer. So you go from 10 minutes to 12 minutes and so on. Also, big one, getting ready for school. Kids wake up so groggy in the morning, but if they have a visual timer of you have 30 minutes to get dressed, brush your teeth, wash your face, and they're watching that timer, they can absolutely do that within that time frame. If you leave it open-ended, those kids will dilly-dally and will take an hour to get ready, and then you're late for school. And finally, of course, getting ready for bed. I don't know what it is about getting ready for bed, but my son can brush his teeth for like 6 hours if I let him. For kids who like to just kind of look at themselves in the mirror, brush their teeth, fiddle with things in the bathroom, setting the timer is the best thing for the bathroom. So I often had timers all over my house to be able to help with that. Home, or I should say at school, I use these to complete tasks like cleaning the classroom. Okay, everybody, this class, we're finished with our project. It is a royal mess. It's time to clean up. We all, if we work together as a team, we can do this in, let's try 7 minutes. And then we set the timer. The kids are watching it. They're moving. They know they got to get it done before they hear that beep. And I often have a little reward at the end of that saying, okay, the first 3 people that I see who are sitting down in their area is clean. You guys get your sticker or a beans in the jar for the activity, upcoming activity. I also use them for group work, especially or centers, so that the kids are working in one center for 10 minutes. They hear the beep, they transition to the next center. That keeps things very organized in the classroom. And then finally, independent work. We use it I use it a lot for kids who, some kids just get to work on their independent work and they don't need a timer and off they go. Some kids are like, oh, I have a hard time focusing. I don't know if I can do it. But once you put that timer in front of them, they say, oh, hey, wait, no, I can work for 12 minutes. That's not a problem. And they're just working and they glance up at that timer and say, okay, I'm good. And now I only have 8 minutes. I can keep doing this. There's kind of an end in sight. And then obviously I use this for oral presentations because some people are quite the talkers. And so using this helps kids know how much time they have left in their presentations. Also, again, like I mentioned, promoting independence. What I love to do with children is I like to teach them how to use the timers, not me setting the timers. Yes, I might do it in the beginning as I'm teaching and modeling. And then I often move from modeling to watching them do it and observe and make sure they are doing it correctly. And then ultimately my goal is always for the students and my own son to be able to say, for me to say 15 minutes, set the timer, and he grabs the little timer, sets it, and off he goes. So at home, like I said, I like to use this to now be able to complete things at home with any prompting, with any nagging, without any begging. I've trained them up and got them ready. So the children like to use these timers without help to complete chores, homework, break times, projects, etc., etc. At school, we use them to help kids just set their timers because they know how much time they need to complete their independent work, their projects, their reading time, break time. And I forgot to mention in there, a time I use this is when kids need to calm down. I'm going to spend just a little bit of time here. I always have a calm down area in my classroom. And a lot of kids, when they're worked up, when they're feeling anxious, when they're getting overstimulated, when they're having a moment of just such strong emotions, I often have them go to an area in the classroom that I call my calm down area. And I always have in the calm down area a timer. And the timer I can set sometimes because they might not be able to set it because they're so emotional at the moment. And then I'm able to talk with them and say, okay, I'm going to set this timer for you to have some thinking time and some calming time. It's going to be 10 minutes. And when that timer goes off, then it's going to be time for us to have our talk about what you're feeling, about what's going on, maybe about why you're angry and why there was some behavior in the class that maybe wasn't so good. But that timer for them, they know because I've trained them to do deep breathing during that calm down time. They can watch the timer. Oftentimes, the timers I use in my calm down area, and I'm going to go to the next slide to show you, are my water timers. And they're right here in the left-hand corner. And water timers are number one, a regular timer. They can be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But for some reason, especially with the littles, I name these not water timers. I name them my little cookie jars or my little cookie maker. And what they do is I tell them to watch Mrs. B make her cookies. And they like to watch the little balls, which are my cookies, come all the way down. And it is extremely calming for children. So I would highly recommend, if you are using water timers, definitely use them, especially if you're in a situation where kids need to calm down. And they just know that they can flip that cookie maker or that water timer upside down and watch it some more if they need more time. So here are some examples of visual timers that I like to use. I use the time timers, which I think is a funny name, but the time timers are for the older kids that really are beginning to tell time or beginning to understand time, and they actually can see minutes. And all you do is you flip the little switch and you turn it to exactly how much. And it's so cool for them to be able to see that big red chunk. And at first they're like, oh man, that looks like a long time. But after a couple minutes, you're like, oh wait, it's getting smaller. It's getting smaller. Super, super useful. The next one is the time tracker. That one starts at green. You start your time, you type in how much you want. This is a good one to have in front of your class. Also, you can have it on a desk, or you can have it at a desk at home, but it starts at green. And then when it gets to like the 5-minute warning, it moves to yellow. And then when it's down to the 1-minute warning, it starts blinking red. And then when the red comes on, it's solid red. And they just know my time is up. Woohoo! Thank goodness. The sand timers are also another one you can use, and you can purchase those on Amazon, Lakeshore, pretty much anywhere. And they all have times on them. I got a couple cheap ones that didn't say how long they were, so I timed them. So some of them were about 2 minutes, some were weirdly enough about 1.5 minutes. But you can also have ones that are specifically, say, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. And then the 2 bottom ones are the online timers. These are the ones I like to project up from my computer when we're doing group activities for the whole class. I wouldn't use this at home necessarily. Maybe if we were playing a game, I don't know. But most of the time, these are the classroom ones that I use. Okay, so are there any questions?
So if you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we will be able to get back to them later. And what's great through Facebook is that we can tag you, so you can check out our responses to your answers when we do that. So that's basically how. Is there any more things you want to share, Marissa?
Just all I wanted to say is just thank you for joining me. This has just been such a pleasure to talk about just one of the skills that I like to use all the time, every day, in my home, at school. Thank you for hanging out. Like Adam said, if you have any questions, let us know and we'll be able to answer those on Facebook. And also, if you'd like more in-depth free trainings, we have some coming up in September, and we'd love for you to join us. And so you can please follow us on Facebook and or Instagram to keep up with all of our training updates, which will be coming in the next weeks. You can also visit our website at miracle139international.org. And then Adam, I'm sure, has put that in the comments as well. And then from there, you'll be able to register for those trainings. And then, yeah, and if you want to look back also on our Facebook page as you join, we've had 4 different tips videos like this in these Facebook Lives. If you want to go back and look at those, we had them over the last 4 weeks. So this was our last one, but feel free to view those, and just thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Marissa, so much. It was so good and so informative, and we're so blessed to have you a part of Miracle 139 International Fam Bam.
Thank you.
So again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. You can, at any point that you watch this, feel free to drop a question, and we have moderators going right now that are answering questions in the chat, but also later on, we can always reply to your questions as well. So thank you all so much for joining us. And yeah, Marissa told you all about what we're going to be doing, our next trainings that we're doing online. So keep an eye out for that. And you can get more information on that as well at miracle139international.org. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight all around the world, and we will see you guys later.